Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Journey with Fee. I hope you guys are doing well. Here we'll talk about world and life explorations and inspirations. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the top 10 questions that I get asked relating to travel. All right, so question number one: do I travel by myself? The answer is no. No, I do not travel by myself. I've never thought about traveling by myself. Well, no, I have thought about it and I've come to the conclusion that I do not want to travel by myself. Some persons don't mind it. I do like to travel with someone, not just as an additional security measure, but just someone to enjoy the time with. So, no, I do not travel by myself, and I personally would not. All right, next question. How do I pick a travel partner? Well, a travel partner can be a friend or a family member, just someone that you like. That is going to be the first criteria for this person. Someone who you like, someone who you know if you're around for an extended period of time, the person won't get on your nerves, the person won't be miserable, the person won't be changing plans, mid-cycle or anything like that. Someone who you know you get along with. Someone who is willing and able to have the time allotted to go on these vacations, to discipline themselves, to save up the money to go on these vacations. Someone who we can joke around and have fun with. You are on vacation, so you want to be with somebody who you like, someone who you can have fun with. So it's preferable. You don't even have to travel with your best friend. It can just be any friend who loves to travel. And there are a lot of people out there who love to travel, but they can't find somebody else to travel with. And they're willing to say, hey, we're may not be best of friends, but we're cool enough. Do you want to go with me to X place? And I've had those requests before. I haven't actually fulfilled any because a lot of my actual friends, I go on vacations with them. Everyone has their preference. Who wants to go to the east? Who wants to stay in the Caribbean? So I don't always travel with the same friend all the time. But as long as you have like-minded friends and family members who have that urge to explore the world, that's all you need. Just find someone who you like and who also would love to travel and see new places. Question number 3: when should you book? Early. That's my personal preference. I don't think there's any magic time frame as to when you should book. Of course, if you book a week before, everything is going to be expensive. But I typically book 3 months before because a lot of my vacations are planned 6 months prior. So like 6 months prior, I already know where I'm going. I'm finding that travel partner who's willing to go. We've come up with a budget and we're saving towards it so that in 3 months' time, we can book everything. Sometimes if I'm going really far, sometimes 6 month planning isn't enough. Sometimes you need a year plan, depending on who you plan to travel with. If whoever you're traveling with, for example, is a teacher, they may only be able to travel during a certain time of the year. So because of that, you have to actually put a little bit more effort into the planning because you're planning around their schedule or their holiday schedule. So it gets tricky there. But in terms of when you should book, I always say book early. That definitely gives you the most flexibility in getting the best deals. So the next 2 questions I'm going to kind of answer in one. One is, do I pay the baggage fees? And 2 is, how do I know what to pack? All right, so do I pay baggage fees? No. Depending on the airline I'm traveling on, if they allow you to take a check-on luggage without paying anything, then that's what I'll do. If the check-on is going to cost money, I'm not checking on. I am bringing a carry-on and then I am bringing a large oversized handbag. Then to the next question, how do I know what to carry? Well, if you know the restrictions of your airlines, and if you've decided that you're not going to pay any baggage fees, and you know you only have a carry-on and a large oversized handbag, you look on those two sizes and you're like, whatever I bring has to fit in here. So you have to bring versatile clothing, shoes, and accessories. Shoes that can be worn with multiple outfits. Rule of thumb for me is to bring one pair of heels, sneakers, flat shoes, and just another random shoes, probably like flip-flops or something like that if I'm going to a beach destination. In terms of clothing, jeans, if you're not doing any excursion that's like muddy, like ATV, jeans can be worn more than once. The clothing, try not to bring any clothes that is too heavy. So anything that's like lighter material, cotton, linen, those things, one, aren't heavy. Two, when you pack them and you roll them, they can fit much tightly into your suitcase. For the ladies, I don't bring the whole 9 yards of makeup. I just bring a few things because, hey, my bag is limited. So I bring the absolute essentials needed first. And because I've booked my excursions beforehand, I know what I'm doing. So if I'm going to be going to the beach, you know you bring a swimsuit. If you want to bring a special beach towel, you know you bring that. If you know you're going hiking, you know you may need sneakers. And if so you're going is maybe cold, you may need to bring a jacket. If I'm bringing a jacket of any sort, I typically wear the jacket or the hoodie on the airplane. I mean, after all, the planes are always cold anyway, so it comes in handy. But hoodies and jackets are bulky, so rather than putting that in the bag to take up space, I would wear it. If I'm bringing a shoe that may be bulky, for example, sneakers, instead of putting that in the bag, I'm going to wear the sneakers to the airport and back. So sometimes that means that, you know, some people like to go to the airport dressed to the nines, but sometimes I'm dressing for comfort, knowing that I have to fit everything that I have to bring for this length of vacation in these two small bags. So whatever I have to wear is usually the more bulky or thicker items that I wear to the airport. And what I usually do is when I'm packing, I get a piece of paper, or you can use your phone, and I basically write a checklist of stuff, lay them out on the bed, and if the items look too much to say, all of this can't fit, then you kind of have to go back over and say, okay, what can I leave, or what item can I substitute for something that's a little bit lighter material. All right. This question, I don't get this too often, but do you have to be rich to travel? Absolutely not. I'm not rich, and I travel 3 to 4 times a year, excepting this year, of course. No, you don't have to be rich. What you have to do is to become a serial organizer. You have to plan ahead. If you know, hey, I am going to go to Italy, or I want to go to Italy next year, you start planning just in general right now based on the time that you kind of know you want to go. What's the typical airfare? What's the running rate for hotels in the area that you'd like to stay? What is the average price of food? Like, you do your research. The internet is there that has all of this information. And based on what you found, you can determine, okay, this trip for X amount of days is going to cost me at a minimum this amount of money. So this is the amount of money that I need to save. Now, whatever you need to do to save, that's up to you. Whether it is that you have side hustles or you just have money that you can put away, whether it is that you're not going to be eating out as much, you're going to be putting that money aside because that will equal what you need. However you need to save, that is definitely up to you. But no, you do not have to be rich to travel. Now, this question I get all the time. When is the right time to travel? The right time to travel is totally dependent on you. It's dependent on when you can get vacation. It's dependent on your work schedule. If you have kids, it's always dependent on when your kids have breaks. Um, there's such a wide variety to just give you a specific date. What I will say is try to travel off peak season. Now that varies from destination to destination. On the eastern portion of the world, their peak time is different from ours because they experience summers and winters differently than what we get here on the west. Peak season for the Caribbean is usually in the summer months when it's warmer. Even during the winter months when persons try to get away from the colder countries to go to the Caribbean where it's warmer. So you just kind of have to know where you're going and try to travel off peak. Off peak basically means less crowds and cheaper flights, cheaper hotels. Now, how do you know where to stay in a country? Now, this one can be tricky because it depends on the development of the country. I typically like to stay outside of the city because outside of the city, one, transportation still runs in terms of you taking the train or taxis, so you're still in close proximity to everything, and everything is slightly cheaper directly outside of the city. However, this is why you have to do your research. Some places, the city is it. Like nothing outside of the city would be appropriate for you. You may end up right outside of the city in a lot of countries. It may be the area that's highest in crime, which is not suitable or appropriate or even recommended for any tourist to go. There may be developing countries where there is nothing outside of the city. So you actually have to stay inside of the city. So it depends on the country that you're going to. So you have to do your research. And if you are able to stay outside of the city, because it's safe and there are accommodations and transportations available, then stay outside of the city. If there is nothing outside, then you have to stay in. So that's the only advice I can give in terms of how to know where to stay when you travel. All right. Do you have to bring extra funds with you? Yes. Bring extra cash and bring your credit cards, not your debit cards. I would suggest you bring at least one credit card, not all of them, in case you lose your belongings. You haven't lost all of them, but at least one credit card, and bring a little bit extra cash. I did have an experience where I went to Hawaii and things were much more expensive than I thought, and I was there for about 14 days, and by day 9 my money was done, not because I didn't budget, but food on a whole was so expensive that the money was done really quickly. So it's a good thing I had my credit cards. I was able to eat for the rest of the time that I was there. One thing I will say about your credit cards is that before you leave, make sure to put in a travel advisory with your credit card company. It's easy to do. You go online to whatever your bank is, you go on their website to your account, and you can actually put in that you'll be out of the country. You can actually put in what country you're going to be in from X time to X time, so that if your card is used there, they'll know it's you and not think that it's a fraudulent transaction and then decline the charge when you're really trying to get something because you're out of money. All right, we are at question number 10, the last question. Where is the best place to get travel deals? Well, my favorite website to go is Expedia. I get travel deals on flights, hotels, airport shuttles, not so much excursions, but I actually get really good deals with them, and it's always easy to cancel if anything happens. Next one I typically use too is Hotwire, but I find that they actually get better deals on Expedia. The next place that I get good travel deals is looking at the airline that you're traveling on and what they have to offer. So, for example, if you go onto Expedia and you put in the date range that you want to travel, and it's giving you, it's telling you that best flight is going to be Delta. what you can do from there on is then go to Delta's actual website. And Delta is one of those airlines that they actually give package deals as well for flight and hotel if you book directly through them. So you could then go on their website, do the same thing, plug in the dates. You'll see the flight, you'll see the hotels that they offer. Their hotel selection is a little bit more limited than what's on Expedia, but at least that way you get a nice price comparison between the airline and Expedia. Sometimes it's actually cheaper when you do it straight off the airline rather than doing it through a third-party travel agency. So you just kind of have to play around with it. It's not usually quick and fast. But yes, the best place to get the travel deals for me is to get them through Expedia or through the actual airline that you'll be traveling on. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely hit that like button and the subscribe button. Check out my previous episodes. And until next time, remember, to achieve infinite joy, you have to live creatively and simply. See ya.